What's happening? And welcome back. Today, I got a question for you. What is your greatest gift? I want you to think about this as we kind of like talk this through and work through. Um, I guess I'll talk about my greatest gift or, some of the challenges, even just discovering what this greatest gift is, because a lot of times we think that our gifts are, a lot of times we misconstrue what the greatest gift is by looking at what we think the gifts are. I hope you caught that. So I was recently in a coaching session, and man, it's nothing like having a coach. It's nothing like having a coach who has discovered something that you're wanting to learn, who has a breakthrough that you want, or has a breakthrough that you can benefit from. And so being in this coaching session really taught me and showed me some things or confirmed some things about gifts that I want to share today on the podcast. So let's jump right into this. I think last week I talked about your superpower. Talked about my superpower. I was made on the platform of money. Like God put me in a situation where that would wind up being something that would be desirous of me. And then I also discovered what my superpower was, right? I'm sorry, what the kryptonite was in all of that. I grew up in an environment that really wasn't the best, great parents did an awesome and incredible job. We just lived in Newark, New Jersey, right? We just lived, between North Orion Street, 77 Orion Street, or 122 South 7th Street in Newark, New Jersey. These weren't the greatest of neighborhoods. If you drove through those areas now, you'd probably be like, that's where you live. Yeah, absolutely. That's where I lived. So when I think about being in that environment was where God put us for a purpose. See, when we live somewhere, when we have certain parents, when we have certain experiences, when tragedies come into our life, usually, even before we react, even before we make a decision about what's happening, we should ask, well, what's good about it? This is not conventional. This is not conventional wisdom, because conventional wisdom is to react to the problem that we're having. I just think of one of the biggest problems that I saw, like in my family, was when I got the phone call on September 24th of 2013. 5 o'clock in the morning, mom's calling, and mom never calls that early, but mom's calling. And I'm saying to myself, well, why is mom calling? I'm picking up the phone and she's not there. And then she calls back and I'm like, hey, what's going on, mom? And mom is like, hey, well, your brother has been shot. And you're like, he's been shot. What? Like, I mean, you think if it's 5 o'clock in the morning, it's dark. I'm just bare. I went to bed at 3 o'clock that morning to get a phone call like that. How do you respond? Like, what do you do? And there's a word that you should write down. It's called responsibility. Write that word down. Why? Because we have to respond with ability in situations that we find ourselves in. So responsibility is the ability to respond and not the ability to react. Most of the time we find ourselves in situations where we react to it, and the reaction, and everyone's reacting to it, and everyone's going about it. No one's saying this is for the good, this is for the glory of the Lord. No one's saying that. In fact, if I said that day in that hospital room, this is for the glory of the Lord, my family would look at me as if I was crazy. I didn't even have the idea to even say it. I was still I guess in that, I was in the feeling of just not knowing how to respond. Like I wasn't reacting. I just didn't know how to respond. So when it was done, and and it's boop, and it's over, and you look, and then I remember leaving the hospital, and we driving back, and we dropped my niece off. That was her dad. We dropped her off at school, and I dropped my brothers off at their homes, and I get home and go to sleep for a few hours to wake up. And I remember getting a phone call from Jenny. She calls me, and it's probably like 9 or maybe like 10 o'clock in the morning. I hadn't really done much that morning. I'm just kind of walking around trying to get some coffee. And she asked me how I was doing. And I remember like it was yesterday, I was standing in the kitchen because I think she may have called. I can't remember if I was on my cell phone or the house phone, but right where the house phone is in our kitchen, I just like, I almost went to my knees, but I went into a child squat with it just all the way down on the ground, just sitting there because I had lost. I felt like the life of my body just went out. And at the time, I still didn't know how to respond to it. I was still working through or processing through what this really was. Brother's gone. My bro is gone. Like, he's 47 years old, very young, considerably young for someone just dying, but he didn't just die. Someone took his life. So when you look at a situation like that, who's going to look at it and say this is for the glory of the Lord, or this is potentially the greatest gift I've ever received? Who's going to say that? Is it like, would you say that? Go back to one of the biggest tragedies or circumstances that you had in your life. Would you say that? The answer is probably no. Now, here's my challenge to you. Go back to something that was the hardest. Go back to something that was the most painful. Listen, these are gifts. These things are gifts. The problems that show up in our life, they are gifts. Why? How could they be gifts? Well, there's a scientific law, and it's called the law of polarity. I'm not scientific. I'm not smart. I just learned this from the coach. The law of polarity. For everything, there's an opposite reaction. For everything, there's something opposite. Just think of it like that. So if there's this extreme thing that I've just dealt with, what's the extreme opposite? What's the extreme opposite? So you got to look at the thing that you're dealing with, or the thing that you dealt with, the thing that may even be holding you back. You got to look at the extreme opposite and say, well, because just like there's no one-sided anything. Look at this. I got a cell phone here. There's no one-sided cell phone. It's always got two sides. There's no one-sided piece of paper. There's always two sides. There's no one-sided piece of bread. It doesn't matter how you can try and make it as thin as you want. There's no one-sided piece of bread. There's no one-sided anything. There's always two sides. There's good and there's bad. There's always two sides. So if there's something bad in my life, then good has to be right there with us. Man, Jay, I don't have enough money. Then that means that there's enough money on the other side. So what are you seeing? Because I know what I'm seeing. Here's what I'm seeing. Every time I find myself in a situation that I don't desire, there's an opposite. There's an opposite that's way better. That's right in front of me. So if I'm experiencing a problem, then the solution is right in front of me. All I have to do is then go to the other side of it. I know it sounds so simple. Here's another thing that the coach was coaching on today. He was coaching on the fact that many people have the biggest challenges, and I think I talked about this yesterday on the podcast. Many people have the biggest challenges because they try and do something before they decided to be, or before they started to really have the right beliefs. I think that's how we put it. The right beliefs. So the doing comes after the being because we align with the right beliefs. If we don't put the right beliefs in, if I don't have the right beliefs about who I am, and then I go try and do something that's more than what I've already been doing, what do you think's going to happen? Bang. What's that bang? Oh, I just hit my head again. Oh man, this is not working. Oh, well, I said I wanted to make $1 million and I still haven't done it. I'm just saying that. Like this is what I've done. Now I never complain about it. I'm not a complainer. So if I don't reach a goal, if something doesn't happen for me, you'll never catch me complaining about something that why it didn't happen. What may happen is this. I'll realize that, hey, it's something I need to focus on. It's something I need to do. And if I focus and do what I'm supposed to do, then maybe. But here's the thing. Willpower is not enough. So where I focused a lot on the willpower, then it's like, okay, well, let me get rid of the willpower. And now let me focus on the being, the beliefs. So what is your greatest gift? Dig down today. Dig down into who you know you are, and find all the biggest problems you've ever had. See, because sometimes my greatest gift is, maybe it's, the thing that you could do with your hands, this thing that, the fact that you were a great ball player, or you had this gift of, of helping people, whatever the gifts are, because there's a lot of gifts. Oh, I can act, I can sing, I can, do, I'm a great speech writer, I'm a great writer, I'm a great coach. Like those are the things that we can pick those out. But a lot of times those are skills. So if we're talking about a gift, a lot of times a gift is, it's like, it's this internal, it's more of an internal. It's something that most people just can't see. When I walk up and people look at me, they can't see I'm gifted with height. I'm gifted. That's a gift. And the thing about a gift is that it's unique to you. Are there other people that's 6'3"? Absolutely. It's just that it's still a gift. So a gift is not a gift in most cases is not something I'm just going to transfer to you and say, here's my gift, you take it and you can have the same gift. That's not how gifts work. Now I can use my gift, right? I can take what I have. I can take the fact that 6'3", what does 6'3" do? 6'3" actually helped me to become more confident. It helped me to think bigger. It helped me to have more courage. 6'3" gave me the understanding that I can change whenever I feel like it. Why? Because when I was short, change came and I wasn't even expecting it. So I'm like, oh, anything can happen. You see that? I was short. I had no understanding. There was no sign that I would get tall. Then when they get tall. So then once this happens, and I'm just noticing this, that happened for some reason. I believe that just about everything can be done. If I became 6'3", and I had no understanding, I had no desire to be tall, it just means that to me, anything can happen. So I have a gift of believing in almost the impossible. I have the gift of consistency. I have the gift of using a death. I saw death. I says, oh, that's what death is. Oh, that's how it works. God gave me a gift. What was the gift? He says the opposite of death is what? Life. That's like, that is truth. The opposite of death is life. Which do you choose? He says, now choose life. Now you live. You realize now what death is. It's an opportunity to live. That's the gift God gave me. He gave me that gift. I'm sure plenty of other people got the same gift, but did they have the same revelation? God gave me the gift and says, now live. And I says, wow, that's amazing. Death doesn't have to hurt, especially if I'm still living. It just means I got more time to live. So What's your greatest gift? My greatest gift? Death of my brother. God gave me that gift for a reason. He gave it to me because he knew I'd see it. And I saw it. So now I live my life every day for the sake of living my life, not for the sake of not living it. Doing whatever it is that he's called me to do, becoming the person that he called me to be. Look, he's already taken care of everything I could ever need. Everything. Like God has done some amazing things. You know, he asked me, hey, retire your wife. I did it. Took care of everything. You know, well, what's going to happen with our kids in college? How are we going to pay for college? I'll take care of that. God's taking care of that. Well, how are we going to maintain all this stuff? Well, I'll take care of that too. God's taking care of just about everything. Everything. Now, here's what God won't do. And then I'm going to let you go. God will not do anything that you're supposed to do. If you're supposed to go write the book, then you're going to have to write it. If you're supposed to go start the business, then you're going to have to go start it. If you're supposed to get the six-pack abs, Jay, you're supposed to have six-pack abs. If you're supposed to have the six-pack abs, if you're supposed to lose all the weight, if you're supposed to get married, if you're supposed to do something, you're going to have to do it. God can't do it. God is not going to do it for you. God only does what he does. But his thing is already done. He don't actually have to do anything. He's done it already. So what God did, he's waiting for us to catch up. So when I finally caught up to what God was trying to tell me, probably for many years, bro dies. I was like, oh, I finally get it. He says, all right. He says, finally, now let's get started. That was in 2013. So think about it. That's 11 years ago. Just not quite 11. It'll be 11 this year. So 11 years. I'm like a baby in here. I'm a baby in the Lord. I'm a baby. But now that I know what my gift is, I got the gift of living. I'm going to live my life to the best of my life, helping you to account for your life. And that's why I'm here. So guys, that's it for today. I hope you got value from the program, and I hope that you go back and look at all the things that's happened to your life, find what your greatest gift is, and then see what the opposite is. That's going to be your gift. So guys, I thank you for joining me. I'm Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless, and I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the Healthy Accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.